Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Antigua and Barbuda lead in the sub-region for economic recovery growth. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 19th June 2023. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Antigua and Barbuda is leading in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union in economic growth as recovery is driven by tourism and construction. Eastern Caribbean Central Bank Governor Timothy Antwine made the revelation during an exclusive interview with ABS television on Thursday evening. He also expects the country's economy to return to pre-pandemic levels much quicker than the IMF projects. ABS's Garfield Burford reports.
The currency union last year grew by about 9%. This year we expect it will grow around 5%. In the case of Antigua and Barbuda, we're projecting a growth of around 9% here in Antigua and Barbuda. And in fact, for the next 2 years, 2023 and 2024, we project that Antigua and Barbuda will go faster than the rest of the currency union on average because of a very strong rebound in tourism and also very robust construction, both in the public and private sectors.
The growth has been turbocharged by a robust recovery in tourism and a continued strong activity in construction. The central bank head also explains why Antigua and Barbuda is at the avant-garde of the tourism recovery.
I think, the infrastructure that you have here, the tourism infrastructure that is, and also, of course, the appeal of Antigua and Barbuda is serving you well.
Governor Antwine also says Antigua and Barbuda's economy could return to pre-pandemic levels much sooner than even the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, projects.
The fund was indicating that Antigua and Barbuda will recover in 2024-25 back to pre-pandemic levels. Our numbers suggest that you could do that as early as the end of this year. So there has been a very strong rebound in tourism. There is clearly pent-up demand. And frankly spoken, we would be even better off were it not for the challenges with regional connectivity, because we can't underestimate how important that is for our tourism.
So impressive growth in the Twin Island state. I asked the governor how that stacks up against the other countries and the territories of the currency union.
But in terms of growth performance on average, Antigua and Barbuda is growing faster than the average.
What I'm trying to get at, apart from the average, is Antigua the fastest growing, fastest recovering in the currency union?
Based on the numbers that we're seeing, yes.
Antigua and Barbuda's economy, based on nominal GDP at $5 billion, places it just behind St. Lucia in terms of size of economic output. The governor also takes the pulse of the country's banking and financial sector.
The banking sector here has come back very strongly, is robust, is sound, is stable, and obviously is growing. And the growth obviously has to do with the banks, the acquisitions. ECAB of Scotia, ACB of RBC, and of course, other perhaps developments. But principally, those two acquisitions.
He also mentioned challenges including inflation, which tracks the rate in the region's biggest trading partner, the United States. Inflation has moderated in the US, but still remains a challenge.
In the meantime, ECCB concerned by level of some bank fees and plan to establish financial ombudsman.
We are concerned about the proliferation of some of the fees. Yes, the banks do have to make money. We accept that. But in some cases, there are some fees and some very high fees that, frankly speaking, concerns us. And we want to have a framework to provide some kind of rationalization and some kind of adjudication of these concerns about misconduct or, in fact, mistreatment of customers by financial institutions. And this does not just apply to banks. Ultimately, it will also apply to financial institutions like credit unions and finance companies, anybody who has dealings with customers.
In related news, this time out of Trinidad and Tobago, headline inflation decelerated due to slower growth in food and core inflation, according to the Central Bank's Monetary Policy Report for May 2023. TTT News has more.
It said retail price pressures continued to decelerate in 2023, with inflation in April recorded at 6% year-on-year after peaking at 8.7% in December 2022. The central bank added that food inflation slowed over February, March, and April 2023 as bread and cereals, vegetables, and fruit prices eased. It noted that core inflation decelerated to 4.8%. The central bank said the cooling effects on inflation from monetary policy tightening by key central banks are anticipated to become more apparent in 2023. It predicts that tighter monetary conditions are likely to remain in 2023 as the priority continues to be arresting the rising cost of living in many countries. The central bank noted that despite monetary policy tightening cycles in 2022, inflation is anticipated to decelerate slower than initially expected. It said the IMF forecasts a gradual downward trend in global inflation, falling from 8.7% in 2022 to 7% in 2023.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
As per the initial quarterly report of 2023 released by Indicom, a total of 52 people were involved in fatal and non-fatal shootings related to the security forces during the first 3 months of the year in Jamaica. This number is only one less than the corresponding figure of 53 for the same period in 2022. Out of these incidents, 28 citizens lost their lives between January and March, a slight decrease compared to the 30 fatalities recorded during the same period in 2022. Joel Crossgill of CVM Live reports.
Though public attention on the role of Indicom is usually focused on fatal shootings concerning the security forces, a potentially underappreciated aspect of its mandate includes improving accountability at state agencies with authority over citizens in a custodial setting. The Indicom's first quarterly report of 2023 highlighted the level of compliance within the Department of Correctional Services, DCS, after the Commission found that aspects of discipline administered at the Rio Cobre Juvenile Correctional Facility infringed on basic human rights.
It is reported that the practice whereby, let me quote, open quote, mere placing of wards in the jail block exacerbated by no clothes is a method that endangers the wards psychologically. End of quote. And the DCS is reporting that this no longer exists.
The DCS reports that child rights are now strictly enforced and notes that there have been no similar complaints from the Juvenile Correctional Centre since the 2020 Indicom report. However, the Commissioner believes that legislative gaps remain that may prevent circumstances from being improved further.
Children deemed uncontrollable at that time were still being the subject of correctional order under Section 24(2) of the Child Care and Protection Act. We accept that this is a matter for the legislature to address, and this we could not place at the feet of the DCS. The child who is deemed uncontrollable is given a correctional order for a behavioral problem and sent to a correctional facility. And we think that is fundamentally, philosophically, and legally undesirable.
With 2 deaths in custody for the year up to March, Indicom also suggests further revision of the Corrections Act may become necessary. Joel Crossgill, CVM Live.
Bahamas' Prime Minister Philip Davis speaks on Haiti talks. ZNS News filed some details.
CARICOM today issuing a statement indicating the outcome of a meeting in Jamaica that centered on steps to be taken regarding the future of Haiti, an island beset with killings, rapes, and a total collapse of institutions, which regional leaders agree cannot continue. That statement reiterating CARICOM's commitment to assisting the government and people of Haiti. And according to CARICOM Chair, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, here's why that's critical.
A space of peace has to be created for there to be free and fair elections. And the only way that could be done is by beating back the gangs, making sure people can move about freely without fear of their body being attacked violently in any way or form, and without fear of violence. And until that is there will be no free and fair elections. And so that is a key initiative that we are working on.
Haiti's interim Prime Minister, Dr. Ariel Henry, committed to greater inclusiveness in governance through the establishment of a government of national unity. The three-member eminent persons group, of which former Prime Minister Perry Christie is a member, chaired the sessions. According to Prime Minister Davis, the group plans to make a trip to Haiti in due course.
In the meantime, Prime Minister Davis and former Prime Minister Minnis clash in the House of Assembly in the Bahamas during the recent budget debate.
Well, a verbal spat between Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis and his predecessor and Killarney MP, the Most Honourable Dr. Hubert Minnis, in the House of Assembly last evening. The back and forth taking place during Dr. Minnis's budget contribution, during which he criticised the government for its tax collection, budget allocation increases, and the new hospitals for New Providence and Grand Bahama. Dr. Minnis went further to cite several of his government's accomplishments, among them enhancing hotel property operations here in New Providence.
We met with the executive of Bahama, who expressed a concern that they thought their product may be somewhat jeopardized because of the amount of smoke coming across that their guests were exposed to from the dump. And Bahama said that if that was not fixed, their tourist product could be jeopardized and probably not grow as rapidly as they expect. Madam Speaker, we fixed it. Albany said their product was in some degree of jeopardy also in terms of expansion because of the leakage at Clifton, the leakage of the oil at Clifton, which stained or contaminated the hull of the yachts within Albany and joining area. And Albany said to us that that's a matter that has to be resolved. We fixed it.
Well, firing back, Prime Minister Davis confirmed he issued a contract to a notable contractor to address the issue.
After many studies as to the cause and effect of the leakage, which was the result of many, many years of leakage in the ground, and because of the what they call the vacuum effect of tidal rise and a low tide that sucked the oil from the ground. It was fixed by a contract issued by myself, right, to a construction company that built, after many studies, built the bulkhead wall along the shore of Clifton, which was done under my watch.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.